Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today, we're flying somewhere totally new. We're down in Chile, in South America. We're flying from Concepcion. I know I'm probably not pronouncing that 100% correctly, but we're going from Concepcion in kind of south-central Chile up to Santiago, the capital, one of the secondary airports. Let's see, 234 miles. It's gonna be about an hour and 6 minutes. We're going at 21,000 feet. Climb aboard and let's go flying.
Some time now, just to see you again. And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been fighting ways to get away, to see you again.
Ariel Sur International. I know I'm not saying that anywhere close to correctly. That's loud. All the way back in this very corner of the ramp here. Well, the first thing I'll do is release the parking brake and call for a pushback, so we don't have to turn through the grass. Go ahead and turn the battery switches on. Flying the airplane is going to be largely the same. Navigating may be a little bit different. CDI to GPS. Let's go ahead and set the FLC 110. Altitude to 21,000. Oh! Turn it from 20,000 to 21,000, and instead it went 20,100. Pushback's probably good right there. Go ahead and reset the parking brake. Strobe light can come on. Cycle the mixture. Boost pump on, throttle full forward, pull it back, and bump it just a little forward. Clear left and right. Turn the magnetos to both. One more time, double check. Yep. Clear! Engine is started, oil pressure is immediately up into the green, temperature is starting to rise. Battery amperage is in the yellow. Turn the two alternator switches on and we should be good, and we are. Turn the nav lights on, avionics on. We'll go ahead and lean the mixture. Looking for peak RPM, and it looks like I've already passed it. Yeah, it's gonna be right there. Yep. Alright, pull the power back to idle. Okay. Let me go ahead and bring the flight tracker up on the screen for you all. Okay. Alright, flight tracker. Excuse me. Flight tracker is up. Nav lights are on. Let's release the parking brake. We're good to taxi. So we have a little bit of maneuvering to do here. Easy there. Yeah, again, the throttle's way higher than it should be. Now hold on a second. Oh, it isn't connected. Okay. So that means we're just going to maneuver this way. So we really could have made a left turn from the pushback. I'll turn out this direction. FSAG Farming, how's it going? It's going pretty well. How are you? Welcome aboard, man. So the wind is from the south, so we're actually going to turn here, hold short of the runway here, and we will do a run up. And depending on how much room we have, we could... Now we've got enough room, we can actually take an intersection departure. Tech Chariot, welcome. Alright, we got the parking brake set. Mixture goes full, rich. Put the throttle up to... Yeah, right about there. We're looking for about 1700 RPM. Turn the landing lights, ice light, pitot heat on, electrical systems are good. We can turn those two back off. We'll leave the landing light on since we are going to be using it for takeoff. Goodish, it went live and it didn't go so well. Man, sorry to hear that. Well, hopefully your next one will go better. You know, they're all hit and miss, so don't give up. Hopefully the next one will be better than the one that you just did. I appreciate you stopping by. You're absolutely welcome to hang out here. Alright. Back to the cockpit. The next thing we check are the magnetos. So 1693 is our current RPM. We're looking for a drop of 40 to 50 per side. Check the right one first. That's good. Back to both. Now the left one. That's good. Back to both. So the magnetos are functioning properly. The power set here, engine instruments are all in the green. No warnings, cautions other than the parking brake. Any other alerts or errors, we're going to go pull back to idle power. And the throttle is malfunctioning. That's on my end there. Okay. So with the power back to idle, the last thing we have to check here is the trim, which is set to takeoff. Flaps to half. We'll look outside the aircraft and check the flight controls. Rudder is good. Elevator is good. And ailerons are good. Flaps are confirmed at half on both sides. Back into the cockpit. Release the parking brake and we are ready to take off. Clear right. Clear left. Yeah, we've got plenty of room. We can just make the left-hand turn here and take off. Don't have to back taxi. Now that taxiway lead-in, lead-off line was... that's way out of place there. Okay. Standard takeoff procedure. We're going to pull full power. Pull back on the stick, rotate 77 knots, lift off in the low 80s. Our altitude 3033. That's really high. 20 feet. We'll turn the autopilot on at 800 feet above the ground. It's really 820 on the altimeter. And we'll engage from there. Pretty standard procedure. Alright, here we go. Full power. Engine instruments are good. Airspeed has come alive. .77 knots, rotate. We're airborne. Stop the brakes there. Positive rate of climb. Can bring the flaps up. FSAG Farming, have a great day, rest of your day. Hey, you too. Thanks so much for stopping by, man. Appreciate you. Take a look at the view right there. It's the city of La Concepcion. And I know I'm probably not saying that correctly, so cut me a little slack there. Alright, 800 feet. Let's go ahead and begin a left turn. And the reason we're going to begin the turn is so that when we engage the autopilot, we'll continue turning in that direction. I won't try to turn back the opposite way.
Engaging autopilot.
Alright, autopilot's engaged. Oh, look at that. It actually is stopping us in that direction. So here's what we'll do. Nav mode should still be on. Heading select is. So, heading will just turn to intercept the course. And then the nav will take over. And yeah, take a look at that. Oh, we're pretty close to sunset. A pretty view of the town, though. Town, city, whatever you want to call it. Pretty sizable community. And you look out that way, you get some decent views. Little hazy. Sun is shining bright though. Absolutely beautiful here. Weather is spectacular. Alright. Now 4,000 feet above the ground, let's go ahead and lean the mixture to the bottom of the green. Should be about 35. And actually tell you what we can do is we're going to go ahead and pull back to 30.5 on the manifold pressure, which is basically cruise climb power. And we're going to pull back to 20 gallons per hour. And that is cruise climb rich of peak, which is best power climb. And yeah, you know what? We can actually lower the nose. We'll raise the airspeed to 120. That'll save us a little time, so we'll spend a little less time up at 21,000 feet. But the overall speed of the flight will go up a little bit. See, even just that change took 11 minutes off the estimated flight time. So the entire time was predicted to be, I think, a little over, I think it was 1 hour and 6 minutes. So of course, once we get up to our cruise altitude, level off and accelerate, that will reflect appropriately. Of course, we have the Pacific Ocean over here. Out that way is decent mountains. And pitot heat required, yeah, 4 Celsius. So we'll go ahead and turn that on. Alright, so our route today, here's Concepcion, flying right up along the coast, and then inland a little bit, and continuing inland. Up here is Santiago, the entire city that takes this area here. And this is the main international airport. It sits on the northwest side of the city limits. And this airport here is one of the, I believe it's one of the GA facilities, kind of on the east side of the city. Of course, these are the Andes Mountains, very high peaks. And on the other side, this is Argentina. Of course, Chile is a very long country. It's narrow, very long. All the way up to here, all the way up beyond this, all the way up here, and it basically ends right about here. It's a very long distance. Then in the other direction, all the way down here, back down past where we start, all the way down here, all the way even further down to here, all the way down through all of this here, and it kind of cuts over this way, and that is the bottom of South America. So, yeah. Covers a lot of territory. It could probably take you 20 minutes in this plane to fly across the country, but from up to down it would probably take somewhere around 10 hours. -2 Celsius up here. A really pretty view though. And yeah, you can see some of the mountains a little more clearly now, out in the distance. Sure is a pretty view though. Various towns. Look at the sun. There's a river. I couldn't tell you what it is. Well, we're getting a 26 knot quartering tailwind, so we have about an 18 knot tailwind component right now, which is helping us out. We're only at 12,000 feet. Hey Maria, welcome. Beautiful view. Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. One of the really cool things about Chile is the diversity of scenery that you get. For example, in the north you have the Atacama Desert. In the central areas, kind of like where we are, it's more temperate. You get the coast, you get some plains, some flatlands, some hills, and then of course throughout pretty much the entire country you have the mountains along the border of Argentina. In the very south you have Patagonia, which is a very cool temperate area. And one of my favorite parts of Chile is Easter Island, or Rapa Nui. where you get all the moai. Haha. I mean, there's so much to see. It's got such a diverse... Not really sure what the right word is to call it. I mean, the scenery is so diverse. I guess that's what I should say. Desert, forest, beach, glacier, island, mountains. They've got it all. Okay, so I'm looking at the times too, and throughout almost all of Chile, it is the same as the US Eastern Time right now. So it's just a little bit before 6 p.m. The exceptions are in the very southern tip of the country, which kind of extends south of Argentina. It's an hour ahead, and in Easter Island, it is 2 hours behind. So we're not long from sunset. In fact, it may start getting dark by the time we make it into Santiago. I don't think it'll be night dark, but the sun will probably have already set. Probably be approaching the end of civil twilight, if I take a guess. 17,000 feet, it is minus 15 Celsius. I'll be the first to admit, too, I don't know the way that airspace and pressure and everything work in Chile, so I'm just going to stick with the procedures that I do know, and at 18,000 feet we'll go ahead and set standard pressure, 29.92. There we go. Yo, T-Bomber, welcome, man. Good to have you. Minus 18 Celsius, so anybody that uses Fahrenheit, that is 0. We are zoomed out a bit. There's actually more airports showing up around here than I expected there would be. Based on the... Well, okay, no, I see them now. They're further inland. A lot of private or just unpaved airfields. So the thing about this part of Chile, it is a little bit more flat. Kind of have some more plains and hills. If we were further north, like north of Santiago, headed up to La Serena or Antofagasta, yeah, there's very little flat land in those areas. High elevation, there'd be a ton of mountains to be seen. Once you get kind of south of Santiago, it does flatten out a little bit, and that's kind of the area that we're flying in. So we'll see the Andes Mountains out in the distance. But as we get closer, the mountains will start getting a little bit closer, but you still have a decent view from up here of them. Alright, here we are at 21,000 feet. Cruise power is set. You can lean the mixture just a tiny bit more. Good, right about there. We can turn the landing light off. We'll also go ahead and turn the fuel switch pump off. Leave the mixture where it's at. Throttle is good. We can switch fuel tanks. And now we just sit back. We have a nice 40 knot. It's a 30 knot tailwind component. It's a 40 knot quartering tailwind. So, 10 knot crosswind component, I think. Or no, that's not right. It's more than 10. At that angle, it's probably between 15 and 20. But that doesn't really matter in terms of aircraft performance. The tailwind or headwind does. So we're good where we're at. Minus 24 Celsius, that is minus 11 Fahrenheit, I believe. Quite cool up here at altitude. We get a beautiful view of the coastline. You can see some of the hills and kind of some of the plains below here. And if you look out in that direction there, you can really see the Andes Mountains. Just kind of run up. If you zoom in and you look straight ahead, you can see as you go further north, the mountains do make their way closer to the coastline. And if we pull the map up, you can see that reflected here. See, in this area, all of this green is relatively low elevation. Santiago's up here where we're going, and then beyond that you can see the terrain is higher, and it gets very jagged. This doesn't really do it justice. I mean, it isn't super steep, but because it is that yellowish tan color, you can tell it's higher elevation than the areas of green down here where we are. Oh, tech, bad. Who is Andy? Did he discover those mountains? Oh man. Gotta give you credit for creativity for that one. Oh, man. I'll say this is a little different from Alaska. And I mean, pretty much everybody here knows I love flying up in Alaska, but I figured I would change it up today. It's good every once in a while just to explore a new place or a different part of the world. I mean, there's so much to see. On the backside of those mountains is Argentina. I think I mentioned that. Yeah, so a little bit less pronounced over here, but you can also tell by the airport codes. SC, any airport that the first two letters here that you see are SC is in Chile. SA, the A for Argentina. So it's really well pronounced up here, where you can see on the opposite side of the mountains. And they get thickened kind of up here. SL, I believe, is Bolivia. It kind of extends further down this way. But a lot of people don't know this, but in the Andes Mountains are actually some of the tallest peaks in the world. Aconcagua, if I'm saying that right, is somewhere in this area. And it is, I believe, almost 23,000 feet, which is higher than Denali up in Alaska. And I believe it is the highest mountain outside of the Himalayas where Mount Everest is found. I would have to double check that, but I believe that's the case. There are some pretty tall mountains out over that way. Indeed, quite pretty though. Look back this way here. I don't know. Can we see? Not really. I think we're doing the cruise climb and also the really good tailwind component that we have. I think that's just carrying us quite fast. I mean, we're doing 245 over the ground, which is quite good in this airplane. coming up on here. We're already about a third of the way up to Santiago. So we're making pretty good progress. Of course, going 245 knots over the ground is a big help with that. About 38 minutes remaining in the flight. Oh, I imagine to be along the coast there, to be able to watch those sunsets must be pretty beautiful. So, I've never been to the west coast of the US. Never been to the Pacific Ocean, with the exception of when I went to Hawaii many years ago. So I've never really been able to see a beach sunset. I would imagine they're pretty spectacular. I have seen beach sunrises, and they are impressive, but there's... I don't know. I've got the feeling that there's something more spectacular about sunsets at the beach than sunrises, and it probably has to do with the temperature and the atmospheric conditions at the time of sunset in comparison. Oh, what a nice little bump right there. But yeah, I bet that's gotta be spectacular. If you're on the ground there, somewhere along that coast, watching that, I'm sure it's beautiful. Maria, yeah, sunsets are awesome at the beaches, yeah. Oh, I bet they are. So you can see it's a little hilly right here. But you can see the mountains starting to get a little bit closer over. Up here. Look out that way, they're kind of sunlit. Oh, that's pretty. Boy, look at that view right there. Wow. Back out that way there, and you can see, yeah, some of the jagged peaks. On the backside there, you can see where it kind of flattens out a little bit into Argentina. it's just, you can tell the angle of the sun. I mean, just look at the difference on the different sides of the aircraft. I mean, the sun is shining bright on this, and on this side you get the reflection of the sky. That's, man, I don't know. That's pretty spectacular to me. And if you look, there's a pretty tall, prominent peak out there. I actually want to look. Aconcagua was kind of to the northeast of Santiago. I didn't think it would be visible, although the direction that we're going, we have 129 miles to go, and that mountain is well beyond that, and is in the direction, so I wonder if that is the summit, but I don't think so. But either way, it's still a pretty impressive peak. Actually, there might be a way to tell. Might be able to see it. There's the entire continent of South America. Yeah, so SCEL, that's Santiago's main airport. So we're landing just kind of on the side of that there. I don't really know. I'd love to be able to tell you what the mountain peak was that we're looking at, but I can't determine it for sure, and I'm not going to try to guess and be incorrect. Oh yeah, that's getting really pretty though. Denali? Wrong hemisphere. Oh, nice try though. Getting that nice kind of golden reddish glow though that you get when you get close to sunset. So it is in fact quite pretty. And we're about actually just a tiny bit over halfway. And yeah, that sun probably has another 10 minutes before it starts to set. But we're gonna get an absolutely gorgeous sunset here right off the left wing. And just look at the glow. So it'll probably start to get to be, let's see, about 28 minutes remaining. So I would imagine we're gonna be pretty close to the end of Civil Twilight in Santiago by the time that we touch down. So we'll kind of get the best of both worlds. We'll have the sunset here in a couple minutes, but we'll have just enough kind of skylight where it isn't really dark, but we'll also have the city lights coming up and everything, so it should be pretty remarkable. I'm hoping, at least. And I didn't really plan it out that way, it's just kind of coincidentally how it's gonna work out, which I'm totally okay with. Looks like the wind is actually settling down just a tiny bit. We're down to a 36 knot wind aloft. We're still getting a good 26, 27 aloft tailwind component, so pretty happy with that. Oh yeah, alright, that's getting really... It's getting really nice. Alright, Tech Chariot, can you get pulled over for speeding? No. No, you cannot. So, when it comes to speed in airplanes, the only real restrictions that you have in US airspace, at least, you have to be below 250 knots, below 10,000 feet, unless you get an exception from ATC. Like, you can request high speed, and they can clear you high speed below 10,000 feet. And if they do, they will give you unrestricted, or they might give you up to, let's say, 270 or 300. And if you go over that, then there would be consequences that I'll discuss in a minute. The other thing is, if you are below certain kinds of airspace, I believe it's below Class Bravo and Class Charlie, which are around large and medium-sized airports. If you are below, not necessarily in, but below that airspace, you're restricted to 200 knots. I don't remember the exact rule for that off the top of my head. What would happen, and the other limitation I should say, is if you have a speed restriction on a certain approach procedure or a departure procedure where they tell you to cross a certain point at or above or at or below a certain speed. If you violate that by more than, they'll generally give you like a 5 to 10 knot kind of leeway on either side. But if you violate that, that is grounds to get what is called a possible pilot deviation, where your information basically gets forwarded to the FAA, and they will investigate, and they will determine if there was in fact a violation, They'll ask you to explain your side of the story, and they'll take action. And they'll do that for all sorts of things, like aerospace busts, basically violating speed or altitude requirements or restrictions, going out onto a runway without permission. So they're handled. If they can't catch you, they can. I mean, they don't have to fly up to you and force you to land. Basically, after you land the airplane, they'll forward the information on, and somebody from the FAA will reach out to you. If you get lost to them in traffic, I mean, they won't really lose you because they'll have your call sign identified on radar, and if you shut your transponder off, they will already have a record of talking to you, and yeah, they have ways of tracking that down nowadays with ADS-B, which reports altitude, airspeed, identification of the aircraft, etc. It's pretty tough to evade them. Oh, and look at that here. Now it's really starting to turn to that purplish red color. Whoa! Look at that. My, that is spectacular. Let's get out and look at that. Wow. Just wow. That is gorgeous. I mean, look at the glow on the airplane. Man. I mean, this is kind of the shadow of the sunset here. Spectacular. And you can see some of these mountain peaks are just barely getting a little bit of a trace of sun. Wow. It is tough to beat that. Maria, a true golden... Yeah, I wouldn't even say an hour. This is like a really good golden, like, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Alright, about 21 minutes remaining. We're not quite 2/3 of the way. But we should prepare to set up for a descent. Yeah, look at the sun right there on the horizon. Wow. So because of the curvature of the Earth and atmospheric refraction, the sun may still be up here while we're cruising at 21,000 feet, but if you go down to the coast, there's a good chance the sun is no longer visible. And if it is, it would just be the very top of it. Which also reflects partly on why you can see kind of a sun shadow on the very top of the mountains here, but further down the slopes at lower elevations, it's not visible because the sun is not shining on them. It's either in a shadow of other terrain, or it is below the horizon from that perspective, from that viewpoint. Can you evade them with stealth skin? Good luck. You could try, but I'm not totally sure of the legality of that. Be my guest if you want to try and find out for chat. Wow. Wow. Alright, it is time to start planning. So let's go ahead and pull the map up and take a look. So we are going in here. I need to look and see kind of what the runway configuration is. 119, so it's actually, yeah, you see it right here, so it's relatively close to how we're set up in the direction that we're going. Wind 220 at 6, Cavoc. Ceiling and visibility okay. That's what that means. 17 Celsius. And 0 to 3. I think there's a way that is not the inches of mercury. There's a way to set that. Hectopascals, I think is what it is. And we have an approach procedure that we need to do. Visual. And what did the wind say again? Let me pull it back up. Is it 200, I think it said? Zoom out, scroll a little bit less. 220. 6 knots, it's a 3,700 foot runway. We can take a 6 knot tailwind. That's not a real big deal. We could circle around this way and come in and land with the headwind. I'm okay with setting up either way. Set direct to the fix. Yeah, it's telling us top of descent in just a few minutes here. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, just the... Oh, look at that! It's going away! Wow. We're gonna get just the tiniest trace of sun left. Yeah, alright, let's configure this real quick for our descent. Let me check safe altitudes. Yeah, 7,500 is safe for our area, and we'll adjust it further. Yep, and yeah, we just looked just in time to catch the very last bit of the sun drop below the horizon there. Wait, it's back. It's probably the way it's rendering. Wow. Yeah, that is pretty. And, oh, cool. Yeah, you can see the lights of the city starting to show up now. That's the city of Santiago here, the capital of Chile. One of the largest cities in South America. What? And I'm thinking too as I look out that direction, that very well might be Aconcagua. Just close to 23,000 feet in elevation. Alright, so we do have top of descent set, we do have lower altitude set. Minus 23 Celsius. We're going to go ahead and cut the power here when we start on the descent. Oh, it should have been now. We start going down. That should have started us down. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and pull the power ourselves. Not quite that much there. Oh, VNAV shut off. I don't understand that. Our altitude was set. Alright, we're gonna switch to vertical speed. Or we'll just we'll set the FLC. Set to 150. That'll get us starting downward on the descent. I'm not totally sure what happened there. That shut off and I didn't realize it, or if something clicked. Let's go ahead and switch the fuel tank back. We're going to run through a quick checklist for descent items here. Pressure, I believe, was Q1023. real quick. Yeah, 1023. 30.22 is the equivalent in inches of mercury. Wow. Yeah, that is pretty. Get a little information of the airfield where we're going here. So we do know the runway is 119. We're coming into runway 1. If we want to switch to 19, we can do so. Which means we'll just fly out this way, kind of over the city. We'll swing around and come in this direction here. Elevation of the airport is 2129. 3,700 feet of bituminous, that would be a type of asphalt for the runway. So we've got plenty of distance. We can take a 6-knot tailwind, no problem. There's the city. You get a really good view of the Andes Mountains out this way. Yeah, and I mean, there's still just enough light where they're kind of illuminated. I guess would be the right word. Well, we'll be coming in, and it'll be pretty much the end of civil twilight. And you can see that the city lights of this town. I'm not really sure what that is. I could look. Rancagua, maybe? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that would be my guess based on what I'm looking at on the map. Oh, look at that. You can see the display screens in there. Oh, that is cool. That's one thing that's really impressive about this version of Flight Sim. Is even when you look into the aircraft, the displays and stuff are accurately rendered. That is pretty remarkable. Look at the sky. Oh, you can see the Milky Way. You actually can. Yeah, you can see the Milky Way. Right up there. I mean, it's still kind of faint, but it is visible. Tech says maybe it's illuminated Nazca lines. Not sure what you mean there. Yeah, look at that. Look at that kind of reddish gold glow. That one is supposed to be the monkey. Ha! So just a perspective of where we're at, it would probably be close to a 3-hour flight to the city of Antofagasta, which is up in the north by the Atacama Desert. Probably a 4-hour flight up to the border. And I'm not talking from where we started, I'm talking from where we are right now, or from Santiago, effectively. In this aircraft, probably a 4-hour flight up to the northern border, where it runs into Bolivia and Peru. And if I took a guess, probably a 4-hour flight no, you know what, it would actually be longer. It would probably be a 6-hour flight, 5 to 6 hour flight to go to the southernmost port of the country. That's just a perspective of how long it is. But to fly from the coast into over the border into Argentina, 20 minutes. Maybe 30 at certain points. But that just gives you a perspective of the dimensions of the country. Wow. Yeah, look at that there. As the mountains are starting to kind of close in closer to the coast here. I mean, you can see it right here. They start moving a little bit more. Now, it is true that the coast is moving slightly, kind of in that direction as well. But you do have a lot less flat land, kind of low plains. Alright, we need to take the power out some more, kind of get a little bit of a steeper descent. We are 9 minutes from the airport, yet we need to drop about 13,000 feet. And we are dropping less than 1,000 feet per minute. So we're going to take the power out and descend a little steeper here. There's the VNAV mark, so we really need to get descending closer to about 1,500 feet per minute. Alright, we can change the brightness of this a little bit. Oh. Turn that down just a little, and we can turn that down a little bit too. There we go. Wow. Music is very relaxing. Thanks, Tech. Have I ever fallen asleep while flying? No. Not in the sim. No, I have not. Ha! Actually, funny story about that. I did fall asleep in a real airplane while I was flying. And I had a flight instructor on board with me. And I told him, I said, man, I'm having a tough time. I'm starting to fall asleep. It was really warm. We had a ridiculous headwind, so the flight was taking probably an extra 20 to 30 minutes longer than it normally would. He said, man, shut your eyes, just lay back, I've got the plane. Get you a little rest. So I took like a 20 to 30 minute nap in the cockpit while the flight instructor flew the plane. And I woke up and we kind of descended on our way in. Alright, gonna put a little bit of power in. Now it's telling us to add some power. So, remember the rule. When we have the FLC engaged, which we do right now, your airspeed is constant and you use the throttle to control your descent rate. Other way around, if you're on VNAV, your descent rate is constant and you use the throttle to control your airspeed. Actually gonna go ahead and descend this a little bit more. Let's go down to 3,500. We've got terrain clearance on all sides. I'm looking for the airport. Santiago is a very large city. Covers a lot of area, as you can see. There's a lot of people. I'm actually looking for a little bit of a heads up to the airport. Oh, I see it. This is it right here. That's where we're landing. There's another airport nearby. Somewhere in this area. I'm trying to locate it. Right here. El Bosque is the name of that one. And then, Santiago's main commercial airport is somewhere over here, I think. I'm trying to see exactly where. But this is the one that we're going to, kind of on the outskirts of the city. And you know what? I think it's beyond Civil Twilight now. Probably nautical. So there's 3 phases of Twilight. After the sun sets, you immediately have Civil Twilight, which is when it's light enough that you can see outside for the most part without needing any, artificial light source or auxiliary light source. Nautical Twilight, it's dark enough that you do need that, but you can still see a difference between the sky and the horizon, terrain, the ocean, whatever it is. And then there's Astronomical Twilight, where it is almost dark, but you can just see the very faintest glow of residual light from the sun. And it's too bright to be able to see, like, all the stars in the sky. And then the point that you can, and there's no more residual glow, it is officially night. It's defined by how many degrees below the horizon the sun is. But those are the practical visual references that you can use to determine phases of Twilight. Here it is. Yeah, this is Santiago's main commercial airport right there. And it looks like we're actually on a pretty good descent profile. Alright. See, that is flipped. We're going to go ahead and turn the fuel switch pump on. Landing lights on. Turn the brightness down just a little more here. Look at that, you can still see the peaks of the mountains. That's pretty remarkable. That's beautiful. I'm hoping some of the skyscrapers will come into view a little bit better, but it's probably also a little bit too dark for it to really make much of a difference. Here in just a moment, we'll go ahead and get a good view of the train. It is plus 14 now. We'll go ahead and turn the pitot heat off. We don't need it. Landing light is on. Final checklist, we'll go mixture full rich. So we turn on to final approach. All the switches we need, all the lights are on. Boost pump is on. Mixture's full rich. We'll set flaps as we need to. Set the altitude down to 2,000, which is really airport elevation at 2,100 and change. Alright, we're gonna pull the power back. Here's the airport right here. It is tough to make out, kind of mixed in with all the city lights. We can go first notch of flaps, or half flaps. We're going to go ahead and put the power back in. Continuing down on the approach. The VNAV may cut off just below 3,000 feet. It's this marked right here, 2958, so it may stop descending there, at which point we'll discontinue, or disconnect the autopilot and just hand fly the plane the rest of the way down to the ground. But we should be on the ground in the next 2 minutes. 2 to 3. 2 knot tailwind. Yeah, there it is. It's trying to level the plane off. To slow down just a little more, we can go full flaps below 110. We're at 112. So we'll just cut the power, raise the nose. There we go. Full flaps. Yeah, and the elevation out here is actually higher than much of the rest of the city. So we're kind of closer to the base of these of the Andes Mountains.
500.
Yeah. Wow. Can ATC remotely land the plane if you did fall asleep? No. If you have an autopilot set, there are safety procedures that could get the autopilot to land, but only in some of the most advanced planes. And somebody would have to activate that procedure. So a passenger or a co-pilot. Now, we are a little bit low. So we're going to add a little power here. Wind's not bad. It's actually, it's a little stronger, 6 to 7 knots. We're okay here. It's not helping us. We're doing 87 along the ground, the tailwind. Power out. Let's get the plane down on the ground here. Power out. This may be a little bit of a tougher landing here. Just because we've only got 2,000 feet of runway remaining. Down. Minus 58, not bad. On the brakes, flaps up. Yeah, that works out. What's the shortest landing I've ever done? Don't say helicopter. Helicopter is actually something I haven't flown. I've done a landing in a couple hundred feet in a couple tailwheel planes. Alright, well here we are on the ground. Yeah, beautiful evening here. Alright, turn the light. No, you know what? We're gonna leave the landing light on just because it does help illuminate the taxiway and stuff for that. Zoom in on the map here so maybe we can see the airport just a little better. Topographic. Right, so we've got a pretty good parking area right up here ahead. Ah, yes. Even in Santiago, Chile, we have the trucks that drive crazy in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're gonna have to maneuver around these clowns. Oh, man. Yeah, so that's a little bit tough to see here. Yeah. Swing around here, maybe? Not even sure really where the ideal place to park the plane is. Maybe on one of those notches? Or oh no, he's right here! There's a guide. Question is, can we turn sharp enough to get spun around and parked properly? Now we can swing around. That is a sharp maneuver right there. Oh, and he's also standing on the center line. I'm trying to be realistic here and position the aircraft properly. Although if we did drive through, like these vehicles, for example, it would not trigger a collision mechanic and end the flight like it would with a, Yeah, see, this up here is all messed up too, because the center line actually takes you right into the corner of the hangar. And there's the disconnect of the pavement and the grass. Is nobody home? No, somebody is home. We have to be careful getting through here, though. Yeah, this is wonky. Yeah, so here's where they're gonna have us park. We'll come forward. Now he's marshalling us. Yep. Turn right. Or turn left, rather. Up forward. When they cross the ones, we hit the brakes. Right there. Alright, we're stopped. He's telling us that the brake and cut the engine. Okay, there we go. Alright. Landing light off. Nav lights off. Strobe lights stay on until we shut the engine down. We're going to turn the avionics off. The next thing we'll go ahead and do is confirm the flaps are up. Boost pump off. Flaps are up, mixtures fall forward. We're going to cut that in a moment. Idle power. Now we'll go ahead and cut the mixture. An hour and 9 minutes. Pretty close on flight time. What was expected. So look at this here. This is really funny. An hour and 6 minutes of daytime flight and 2.5 minutes of nighttime. So it's basically like the last 2 minutes and so that we were in the air until we touched down, I guess. Because it counted as a night landing. And here's the really funny thing. We didn't get a takeoff in day or night, so I don't know. It wasn't twilight, so I don't know what was going on with that. Alright. Engine is stopped. Clear the caution and warning annunciators. Strobe lights can go off. Alternator switches, and last but not least, magnetos and the final battery switch there. And now, when you cut the battery switch off, you get this light. You get this nice little kind of headlight floodlight view, so you can see around. No credit for takeoff, I know. Yeah, it was nice of him to help. There's the standard marshalling procedures on the ground. But look at that. I mean, that is beautiful. Man, what a view. I mean, you get the city of Santiago here. You get these mountains in the background. You get these mountains in a little bit closer than the background. I guess kind of the middle ground, so to speak. But, yeah, well, that's going to do it for this one, folks. Welcome to Santiago, Chile. Thanks for joining me for the flight. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope we'll have you aboard on the next one. And as always, until then, folks, take care, stay safe. We'll see ya.